invest in and follow principles. That has proved to be pretty successful.
This landlord's going to make almost $2 million over the next 12 years for doing something one time. And that's like residual. This guy's got another 7 retail spaces and he's got 10 stories of apartments above it. And I'm like, man, I'm on the wrong side of the coin, right? I need to own real estate, not broker it.
You start doing deals that are absolutely life-changing, like that put you on the path for intergenerational wealth.
Welcome to the Real Estate HomeRuns podcast. I am your host, Louis Van der Horst. This is a podcast for busy professionals who want to learn about passive income producing strategies that have helped others crush it in the real estate world. Whether you are a new or seasoned real estate investor, this is the podcast for you. Welcome everyone to the show. Today we have our special guest, Ryan Enck. And Ryan is going to be sharing some pretty cool stuff with us today. I'm really excited to hear more about a deal that he's working on where they're turning a hotel to several apartment buildings. So Ryan, thank you for being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me on. It's an honor to be on your show.
It's great to have you. So tell us how you got started in real estate.
Yeah, so I'm from the New Orleans area. After college, got a job just as a teacher, and I wasn't making very much money as a teacher. So I was starting to look into other things, and I always knew that people could make money with real estate, but I just didn't know how to get started. So I did what most people do, and I was like, oh, I guess I should get my real estate license and become an agent. And so I got my license and I started doing some small things. But as you probably know, Louis, when you're an agent, you're not necessarily creating passive income for yourself. You're just brokering deals. You're selling other people's property, right? And so that was good. It was good from the experience standpoint. But at the same time, my wife, she was pregnant about 8 months for our first child. We now have 5 kids, all boys. So anyways, Hurricane Katrina hits New Orleans. That's back in like 2005. I've got just some very beginner experience. This sends me in a tizzy to where the job that I was working, it was about 4 feet underwater, and I couldn't move to Houston where they were relocating everybody. So I had to try to find my own work. And so I started trying to, a lot of people are born entrepreneurs. I was kind of like an accidental entrepreneur. I was just like, well, I've got an 8-month-old pregnant wife and no job, and I need to find a way to make money. And there wasn't a whole lot of people who would hire me. So I finally decided to start my own business. All of this failed. All of these businesses failed. I actually lost a ton of money doing it, but I learned a lot from the experience. And through the whole thing, I used real estate investing to kind of cushion my failures with the new business ideas that I was having and executing and failing. Finally got this job selling copiers, which was just the most miserable experience ever. I don't know if you've seen that movie Office Space, where they take the copier out back and they beat it with a baseball bat. But that's pretty much how people felt about me when I walked through the door to try to sell them this thing that they hated, And so I had this pivotal moment where I was driving across the causeway of New Orleans. If you've ever been to New Orleans, there's this big lake that goes from the North Shore to the South Shore. I was driving across the causeway and I just got chewed out by a Catholic monk of all people for this copier that we sold them, that it wasn't working properly or whatever else. And I had a gut check and I had a come to Jesus moment where I was just like, you know what? This cannot be what my life looks like for the rest of my life. I cannot be waking up every day with anxiety, barely paying the bills. I'm working 80 hours a week for these crummy copier commissions, and I'm getting chewed out by Catholic monks. So I was like, I got to do something. Something's got to give. I'm a praying person, and I prayed a little bit, and this question popped in my head, and it was, what would you do if money didn't matter? And I said, well, if money didn't matter, then I'd play music or I'd open up an indoor sports arena or something like that. And I called my wife and I said, hey, babe, say we had, millions in our bank account. What could you see me doing if money didn't matter? We never had this conversation before, but my wife said, well, I could see you maybe playing music or opening up an indoor sports arena or something like that. Long story short, I knew that the solution wasn't to work hard. The solution was to create enough passive income because I couldn't put in more hours in the day. There's 24 hours in the day. And I knew that there was a way to do it with real estate. So I just went nuts, just learning everything I could. I had nothing but overdraft fees in my bank account, but I knew that there was ways to purchase and create cash flowing assets without using your own money or by creative financing. And so I just started learning all this stuff. Long story short, 3 years later, I had opened up the indoor sports arena in the New Orleans area. And then I opened a second one a year later. I've sold them since, but we've had Drew Brees there. We've had Anthony Davis there. We've provided youth football, adult soccer and football, lacrosse, birthday parties. I mean, it's been great for this community and in this area. But I also learned through that experience that working for yourself isn't necessarily the goal. It's purpose-driven time freedom is the goal. Even as a small business owner, it's not like you've got it made. You're putting in a ton of hours and you're taking in all of the risk. And so the goal is to transition from that business owner, from employee to business owner to investor. From there on, I just decided, hey, I'm going to buy cash flowing assets that I can create time freedom with. The cash flow is just something that helps you create time freedom. Mm-hmm. And so within 1 year, I had bought enough in assets, multifamily, single family, that I was able to quit my job and just do really, what I wanted to do to serve other people full time. And so to date, if we're fast forwarding a little more, we have over 70 million in assets under management. We've got a very big multifamily portfolio, and we're currently growing our hotel to apartment conversion portfolio. That's a very, very long story. Believe it or not, it was a long-winded, but believe it or not, it's a lot longer than that.
Yeah, I'm sure there were many books, mentors, and partnerships that helped you get to where you are now. Can you think of perhaps any books that were very pivotal in your life, or partnerships, or even mentorships?
I would say that obviously, I'm sure you hear this with other speakers, the absolute book that was paramount and foundational for my mindset was Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, I probably read that like 5 times in a week just to make sure that I understood all the concepts in it. But as far as the partnerships, I think that entrepreneurs in general, they're a little different in how their brain works. Most people say, in order to accomplish this goal, which might be, buying a $10 million apartment complex, I need to have money. I need to know what I'm doing. I need to have a good balance sheet for the banks. I need to have a good credit score. I need to have a property management company. I need to, so they see all these boxes and they don't check. They maybe check one or a half of one of those boxes and then they move on and they say, all right, well, I can never do that. But I think what an entrepreneur does is he asks who instead of how. And that's what I did is I had a lot of strategic partners. And if there was something that I said, I can't do this. Well, who can do this? Or who can show me how to do this? So, I mean, even with the indoor sports arena, I didn't know anything about it. Running an indoor sports arena. I was a teacher and a copier salesman. So I hired a consultant, and the consultant helped me bridge that learning curve. And I did the same thing. I had, with the multifamily, I've got a good friend from college. He started out as a teacher too. And in 10 years, he was able to build this $1 billion business. It's called InvestRes. Before it was called Avesta, they changed the name. But, I flew down to Tampa Bay, Florida, and I said, look, man, can I just pick your brain for a day? It ended up being about 2 days because I've got a lot of questions. But after those 2 days, I knew everything that I needed to know to get started. And literally from that 1-2 day fly down to Tampa and pick his brain, from that 2-day thing, I created a $50 million portfolio within the year, just on that one occurrence. I mean, there's many people that I can attribute to helping me along the way, but it's absolutely the right question to ask is who are your mentors? Who are your books? Who are the people that helped you along the way? Because those are the questions an entrepreneur should be asking, and anybody involved in multifamily real estate should be asking those questions.
So you know where you're headed and who's leading you.
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit more about the hotel that you guys are pursuing. And would this be the first hotel that you're converting into several apartment buildings, or you guys have done several of these already?
We've done many conversions. I mean, we've done, a lot of value add multifamily, and it's essentially the same thing. The only thing that's different is that you're finding creative uses for the spaces. That's something that I'm used to doing with just, believe it or not, the indoor sports arena, figuring out the best optimization of the space and where you can bring in revenue. Everything's a cost benefit analysis. If you put this cost into it, how do you benefit in the income realm? So it is the first time we do have consultants in this first deal, although we haven't had to use them as much as we thought we might, because a lot of it just comes from our natural background. But yeah, this deal, we actually found this deal. To anybody listening, I would say that your network is synonymous with your net worth. And if you're in this space, you will grow so much faster if you continue to expand your network, meet with people, talk with people, create those relationships. This actually started because a friend of mine said, hey, I've got this guy. He owns some hotels in the area and he owns a Dunkin' Donuts and a Chevron. He's looking to buy multifamily in Metairie. Can you help him out? I said, sure, I'll talk to him. So I talked to this guy and he was looking to buy like a 22 complex. I said, look, I'll ride with you down there. I've actually got a property down there. I'll ride with you down there. I'll show you the ropes. I'll show you how it's done. I'll show you how I analyze the deal. And I just provided value to this guy for about 3 hours during that day. Later that week, he introduced me to another hotel tycoon up in the Lafayette, Baton Rouge area. And he said, hey, he doesn't do business with anybody. So if you're interested in meeting with him, I said, I'll do it. I'll just drive up there. So I drove up there. We met on a couple things, just sat down and talked for a while. A week later, he said, hey, the bank wants to dispose of this property. It's a $15 million hotel and we can get it for $2.4 million. And so we got it for $2.4 million.
Wow.
We had to raise 3.2 in capital to complete the project and get the loan. Mm-hmm. And we did that within a day. It's a good project right now. We're in the demo phase. I'm actually just getting back from driving up there to check on the project. But we're really excited about that. And we're actually really excited about the entire hotel to apartment conversion model. If you want me to talk about that and why I think that's a good niche.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're in the multifamily space, you know that it's been a little bit of a red ocean. There's a lot of people that have seen the light and know what good deals are out there and how you can basically go into a place, raise rents by $100 to $200, depending on the cap rates. You've just increased the value by millions of dollars. So there's people out there that are becoming millionaires in a year just doing the multifamily space because that has become a little bit of a red ocean. So that's the first thing is, the deal flow. We were still getting deals, but they weren't coming as fast and they weren't coming at the numbers that we liked. At the same time, you had this COVID thing that hit, these restrictions on travel, that really creamed the hotel industry. I mean, it just crushed them. Especially banquets and gatherings, like nobody was able to do anything like that. Not only that, but you had a lot of corporate travel. That's what a lot of hotels base their business model off of is corporate travel. They weren't able to do that anymore, or people have changed their dynamics and how they conduct business. There's a lot of people like you and I right now on Zoom calls. Instead of traveling to a location, they're doing most stuff virtually. And they learned to adopt those habits through that COVID shutdown to do those virtually. And third, the Airbnbs have kind of taken a big slice out of the hotel market. There's a lot of people traveling doing Airbnbs now instead of hotels. So all those three things have caused this kind of marketplace that's similar to what's happened in the single family realm back in 2008 with the subprime mortgage crisis. All of a sudden, if you were doing foreclosures, which I did after 2008, you could clean up doing foreclosures as single family because people were foreclosing all over the place. Well, right now it's that same opportunity with hotels. The areas that we're looking in, last week there was 5 going to auction. This week there's 25 going to auction. Next week it'll probably be 50. If you pull up the 90-day delinquent report on CoStar of hotels that are going delinquent, it's hundreds of them. It's a big buying opportunity with hotels to get them at these incredible values. At the same time, there's an affordable housing crisis. Because lumber is skyrocketed, there's companies like DSLD that have put a complete freeze. They're like the number one home manufacturer in the world. They put a complete freeze on new manufacturing until they can make the numbers work. I don't know if that's still in place. They might be manufacturing again now, but last I heard is they put a freeze. So we can't create enough places for people to live in enough time. We're short houses. We're short places for people to live. Even with apartments and new construction, those construction costs are prohibiting investors from going in and doing it. So this kind of intersects those two problems, and money is made where the majority of the problems are solved, right? So we're solving the affordable housing crisis. And at the same time, we're repurposing these beautiful structures, these beautiful hotels that they're major intersections. They've got great exposure, but they just can't work as hotels anymore. And so we're repurposing them and bringing in affordable housing. So that's the model, that's the niche, and that's what we're really excited about. We're actually creating a $100 million fund in the next couple months to go after some of these new opportunities that are popping up. Right now, we've got a pass on opportunities where we could easily gain $4 million, $5 million in equity right out the gate. but we're just having to pass because we don't have the speed and capital to take them down. With foreclosures, with auctions, you've got to have cash and you've got to take them down in cash within 30 days.
Move
and sometimes
quickly.
the syndication model is too tough to do that with all of them.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because not too many investors out there are in that niche, converting hotels into apartment buildings. So you have all these different factors going in, the shortage in housing, hotels being hit a lot, and also not too many investors that are, this is, where is that? Or an untapped market.
Yeah. If you're listening to this podcast right now, within the next 6 months, or even within the next year, this is a good time to listen to this because it's a blue ocean right now. And blue oceans always become red oceans the more that fish go into them. But yeah, right now it's a blue ocean. Foreclosures were a blue ocean in my area until about 2015. And then there was too many sharks in it to get any good deals. So right now it's a pretty blue ocean.
Who knows? Maybe malls will be next.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah. Would someone need to be an accredited investor to be able to do some of these deals?
We just did a live Q&A last week with our SEC attorney that's setting up the $100 million fund for us. And the way that our fund is going to be set up is that we can accept 32 non-accredited, but there's going to be some stipulations. Most people will have to be accredited in order to participate in it. But we do have 32 spots that we can reserve for non-accredited investors.
Okay. What are some long-term goals for Ryan? Maybe 5 or 10 years? Do you even plan that far out?
Right now, I'm just having fun. So we're going to set up the $100 million fund and we're going to go after the hotel to apartment conversions. After we're done with that, I think we should probably set a new goal, maybe 500 million, maybe $1 billion. I don't know. But we're just having fun with this. And I believe in setting the goals for the future, but I believe in living in the present. And I think that way you avoid some of the anxiety that comes from living too far in the future. But yeah, I think we'll continue to set up funds and to provide passive income for investors. I mean, that's kind of where I came from as a husband and provider, is I wish that there was opportunities for passive income. So I like to provide those opportunities for other people. And I'll continue to look for ways that I can serve other people in the future.
I noticed you mentioned prayer being something that it's important to you. Has that been an area that has helped you stay grounded in what you do as an investor and staying focused?
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think God's grace has carried me through anything that I've done. And I can't imagine going through any of the trials and the struggles that I went through without him. And I still call upon him daily to help me take down whatever we're trying to do, whatever the challenges are. It's either that or I'd become an alcoholic. So I prefer the strength of prayer. Been very helpful in my life. Yeah, absolutely.
We need to find, I have heard people say, if you don't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything.
That's right.
And with so many things pulling us in so many directions, we need to be grounded. What would you say has been 3 things that have helped you hit real estate home runs, even hits or doubles or triples?
I mean, I could probably come up with 12 things off the top of my head. I mean, obviously the first is remaining connected to God. The second is remaining connected to my spouse. The third is to make purpose-driven decisions and to really create your own personal mission statement. When I first started the indoor sports arena, I hired that consultant and I thought he's like, I'm going to send you a packet. I want you to take 3 days to do this packet. I thought he was going to give me a feasibility study, for me to put in numbers and whatever else of real estate in the area. And he just sent me back this one quote. The quote was, "This much I know, those of you who will truly be happy will be the ones who have sought and found a way to serve." So that's been the core of everything that we've done, even with the hotels and the apartments. How can I serve my economy? How can I use my real estate experience to serve the people in my communities and the communities that we go into and serve the investors? What is going to serve the most people? And so serving most people through, taking these hotels that would otherwise go be landfills or blighted properties and just reawakening these structures and bringing them back to life, to provide affordable housing without using low-income tax credits. There is a huge need for affordable housing in this country. And then also provide returns for the investors. So finding ways to serve and doing that, I think that has made me, in orienting my brain a little more around, hey, how can I serve the most people instead of, hey, how can I make the most money? Because if you serve the most people, you're going to make the most money. But you need to start with serving other people first. And if I could add a fourth thing, I'm sorry, you only asked me for 3, but if I could add a fourth thing, I would say people. You call it networking, just create relationships. You've got to like people. You've got to love people. You've got to create relationships with people, connect with them. And you don't always have to get anything in return. But if you focus on, hey, can I serve 3 people a day? Can I connect with 3 people today? Your net worth will grow astronomically just by putting yourself out there and connecting with people.
That's really good. Thank you. Yeah. And it goes back to what you said earlier about your network being your net worth. And we all can't be good at everything.
That's right.
So we got to find and connect with others that are good at the things we lack, and also see how can we bring value to them at the things they lack.
Exactly. Absolutely.
That's really good. If there is maybe one thing that I should have asked you that I didn't, being a host and you being a guest, is there anything that comes to mind?
Can I guide people towards they're interested in the fund? Can I guide them to where to go?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can go to serviocapital.com. The name of our company is Servio. That's off of my personal mission statement, to serve others. Servio is the Latin for to serve. So it's serviocapital.com. And on there, you could see soft reservations for the fund. We also have some really great deals coming up. We actually just got another one under contract. It's a $5 million hotel that we got for $1.5 million. And since this is the Home Run podcast, I feel good about sharing this. It's kind of a home run. We've already got secured on it a master lease that's bringing in $67,000. So we're essentially going to buy this for 1.5 cash. Then we're going to go to Fannie Mae and we're going to say, hey, we've got this apartment and we've got this lease on it already. We've stabilized it. And doing that, we'll be able to refinance at 3 to 4 million. So immediately we're paying back all of our investors' capital, plus they get an extra $1 million or $2 million from the deal. And that's all within a couple months of acquiring the deal. So we're really excited about that. That would be our home run deal. But at any rate, we're finding deals like that all over the place right now. And so that's part of what the fund will do to take down deals like that.
Are you active on social media where people can maybe connect with you, or the best way is through the website?
Yeah, we've got a Facebook group called Real Estate Investor Secrets that they can connect with. We also have something called the 1,000 Door Tribe. That's our group of investors. We got a mentorship program.
Awesome. Hey, Ryan, it was a pleasure connecting with you and getting to hear your story and these cool projects you have going on and what's coming. I thank you for your time.
Thanks, Lewis. Appreciate you having me on.
We hope you enjoyed this interview and got some value out of it to help you in your real estate investing journey. If you can take just a minute, please do us a favor and leave a review. Hit the like button on iTunes or whatever platform you listen to our podcast on, and subscribe so you can hear future episodes. Also, don't forget to check out our Real Estate Home Runs Podcast Community Facebook group, where you are able to connect with some great listeners. If you're an investor who is crushing it and want to share some information centered around passive income in real estate, please contact us. Hit those home runs, and we will see you next time.